again, I will remind you that there are some exercises which I planned for this workshop, and if you can and want to join it and try to do something for yourself, be my guest. We will probably also do it together, so I will also, after some time, be showing how I would solve these exercises. But okay, of course, you're welcome to try the things out. It's supposed to be hands-on workshop. And today and in this workshop series, we will talk about modern stack of UI test automation of today. And I've picked up 4 instruments, 4 tools, which are, in my opinion, quite popular. And all these tools are not alternatives to each other, but they compose, in this case, with Selenide in Java stack, a solid ecosystem for writing well-readable, fast, stable, continuously executable test for every project. For every project which is testing the browser application, web applications. And the tools are Selenide, which is a library for Selenium-based library for writing actually the tests, and Allure Reports is to make a real nice visual reporting of your test results, and also it offers some more features, like be able to enrich your test with a suitable metadata. And then for the second part, which will not be today but the next week, Jenkins as an instrument to continuously running your tests, and Selenoid, which can help you to run the test on different browsers and also to scale up your environment and be able to run many tests in parallel, and thus reducing the runtime of your test suites. Okay, so the first part will be about UI tests itself. Is represented with Selenide, and Selenide is an open source library which will be 10 years in this year. So the first commit, I think, was something like November or December 2011. And Selenide is Java library for Selenium test, which is quite popular, especially between Russian speaking developers, but also I think also in the world at the moment we are having around 250,000 downloads every month. And some features, some benefits of Selenide is that it has simple and concise API, which helps to write well-readable tests, and it has built-in assertions, which Selenide obviously not have, which Selenium obviously doesn't have. Also, it handles asynchronous element loadings, so that it enables you to write weights-free code. Also, with very practical defaults for everyday test, you can just start writing the test without doing any configuration, which you will see today. Very nice built-in diagnostic reports, detailed error messages, screenshots, and snapshots of state of your page, DOM, domain object model, Also, it integrates well with popular reporting and cloud services, including Allure Reports and Selenoid and some other popular services too. So, and today we will do a simple demo using Java stack. For this matter, we will, as developer environment, we will take IntelliJ IDEA Community Edition, the free one. We will use Gradle. So there are Gradle and Maven. We will use Gradle as a tool to handle projects, compile and run the tests. And also as testing framework, we will take JUnit 5, which is probably the most popular framework today. Okay, so let's just start with writing the first test. Okay, just a moment. I will try to add another participant. So please accept. Please accept it so you can then speak to the microphone, and please ask questions if something is unclear, or you can speak up, or you can use chat for it, Zoom chat for it. I think I can see it. So okay. So let's go into our tests. So now I'm using the latest version of today. I think it's 2021 1.3 of IntelliJ IDEA Community Edition. Just create a new project. This will be, as I already said, a Gradle project with Java. We will use Java version 11 for it. So if by any chance, so if it's the first start with IntelliJ and you never downloaded any JDK, there is a simple possibility here to do it. Download JDK and then choose from the list. I recommend take 11 as the latest long-term support edition. Just do download. It will take some time, but it will then be installed. So Gradle, Java, SDK Java 11. We will give it some name. Let's okay. We'll name it. Let's name it Selenide. Something like this, and finish. So after a moment, it opens. Oh, wait a second. So, okay. Here is our project.
Alex, can you please zoom in a bit?
What?
Zoom in. Zoom in.
Zoom in. You mean make a font size bigger, yeah, probably, yes?
View bigger. Yeah, thank you.
I think I cannot. I can just make the font little. Okay, now it's okay. Yeah? So probably it will take around a minute or so to be loaded here. And then the next step, you go to a build Gradle file and let's check the settings. So plugins, Java, you can leave it as it is. So it's just about using Java. I actually recommend it even to delete this group and version thing because we really need them in testing, in UI testing projects. We'll probably not need them. So this part is telling us that where to look for dependencies. It's Maven Central is, I think, the biggest repository where Java dependencies, Java jars can be downloaded. So it's fine for now. And here it's also configured with also suitable version, one of the latest version of JUnit 5. So also the last line is telling us that we will be using JUnit 5 for running our test. Of course, if we are going to write test with Selenide, we should add a couple of dependencies. And first of all, I will add a dependency on Selenide. I think even try one of the later versions. Selenide 5.23.0. And also, it's actually an optional dependency, but I like to add it in every project. We are using logging framework to be able to see a little more of output from Selenide and other frameworks which Selenide is using under the hood. For example, Selenium itself or the driver manager. So this line, as you can see there, so there is not a library which we will be using in our code. So it's just runtime dependency. That means this library will be used when we'll be running our test, but it gives us more information in our logging streams about what's happening. So I would recommend you to use it. Also, especially for my Russian-speaking friends and for those of you who must deal with some other encoding, not only standard Western encoding. For example, even in Germany, we using umlauts, and there are some other Western alphabets with special symbols. And as far as I know, this problem sometimes comes on Windows PCs, because even I think even as I've seen it even with Windows 10, perhaps it will be fixed one day, that by standard settings, the files are not saved in UTF encoding, and in some cases, a test which is written perfectly starts to output some text which is not readable. It's a sign. It's the most probable reason is that the source file wasn't saved in proper encoding, and this small setting just ensures that encoding is always UTF-8, which has then every symbols from every alphabet in it. Okay, and also just in case, it's really also optional settings. I'm setting with this short snippet the version, Java version to 11, to be able to more easily share my code with on internet or with colleagues that also he's defined that this test should be run with Java 11. So that's it. And actually, Okay, let's look at what we will be automating today. We will take a very simple example, GitHub, and here we will search for Selenide in the search field. Press enter. Then we will go in the result list on the first link we will find. And then let's just check that somewhere here in the header, the repository is shown as expected, Selenide, Selenide. So that simple test, it will be our simple test scenario. So here we will go to test on Java and create a new Java file. Give it some name, for example, GitHub test. We could also create some package. Let's do some very basic package. Recently, I've learned not to make long packages like something, because actually we're not going to distribute our test to be the part of some other applications, other software projects. So actually, the only thing what we need packaging for is to make some readable structure. So for now, I'm just trying to divide my code in packages which help me to understand the structure, but I don't need to do these typical prefixes before it. I think it's make my code a bit shorter and cleaner. So of course, it's up to you. It's not very important. So we have created a class, and as you know, we will be using test annotation from Unit 5 to write in any test, and here should find the Selenide on GitHub, for example, on GitHub, just the name of our test. And I encourage you to actually, especially if you are new to testing, to write comments, to write the plan of what are you going to do right now, as for example, as comments, and it will help you to implement the tests step by step by just implementing here what we are going to implement. Yeah. Okay, so the first step, so the plan is to open the GitHub page, then enter Selenide in the search field, then press enter, then click on the first link found, and assert that Selenide is in the header, which I already told you. So let's go to the GitHub page. It will be this one, and with Selenide, it's as easy as Selenide open the address, and I will also do static import, so the code is looking a bit cleaner. That's the first step. Enter Selenide in search field.
Alex, can you please again zoom, because
okay. So probably every page,
yes, thank you,
must be zoomed. Yeah, thank you for reminder. Okay, so we will locate here this search field, which is named. I will take this attribute name, which has a Q parameter, and with Selenide, we have dollar notation, which uses CSS selectors. Then this simple CSS selector, like this. And if you want to put in some text in input field, just set value and the text is Selenide. That's it. Press enter. We'll just continue by doing the chaining of the method. It's also possible with Selenide. So also logically it is press enter. Okay, so it's the first part. I think we'll just make a sleep, which I will never be doing in real tests for sure, but just to hold the browser open for a few seconds that we will see what's happening. Oh, I think I've sorry, I've copied it from other file, of course. I must delete it. Okay, like this. Okay. Code. Code. Yeah, nice. Okay, now let's start. So,
Sorry, Alex, can a quick question?
Yeah, sure.
This relative or absolute URL, this is your library provide you such a good tooltip for what to enter, or how it works?
Excuse me, what exactly? Oh, it's
is this your something like library, or what about this example? What we should enter to this? Is it a part of your engine? This text, what or it's something like maybe some for example, CSS selector. What is this? It shows you
this one. Yeah. It's a feature. Okay. I will show you quickly because it's a really nice feature of IntelliJ. If you are not familiar with IntelliJ, then actually I think it's not that new, but it's no more than 2 years old, I think. So it started to appear around 2 years ago. And now, as you can see, it has many settings. All are named show hints. And in the first version of IntelliJ, which added these hints, it was just one setting. Now it's for me, it's even sometimes difficult actually to get what actually each checkbox means. So I'm probably will I'm setting so I'm either leaving the defaults or setting everything on, and this helps me to get these hints. So this relative absolute is not part of the code. So actually the code, if I turn it off, looks like this. Yeah, so it's not what I'm typing. It's just a feature of IntelliJ, which helps to make code more readable and to enter it more quickly, because it actually showing parameter names, and it gives an idea what I should write as a parameter. For example, that sleep has milliseconds. So it's a feature of IntelliJ. It's not Selenide. It's useful. It can be used not only for Selenide. Okay, so yeah, I think it worked. So I've saw the browser. Then let's click on the first link. Okay, so I'm selecting here. Okay, for example, let's take here the list of these items. So it's our results. Okay, repo list and as class. Okay, and repo list was okay. This one and Lee, and let's just take the first of it. but I think we must click on the link. So it's it will be somewhere here. No, yeah, this A. So we should locate this A element, which is a link, which is inside of the first list item element of this this unordered list element. UL is unordered list. So in Selenide, we can use double dollar notations to find collections. That's collection is when we are finding more than one element, and then first we are finding, for example, UL unordered list with this class, then list. Then we can take the first of them and then also chaining, searching for our element. And I guess we will probably just do a click on it. Yeah. So we automated this click. And now let's check this this header, which is okay, here h1. Yeah. So the assertion in Selenide is also very simple. We selected the element h1, and then this built-in assertion we have should be, should not. They are all should be, should have, and opposites, the negative assertions are should not be, and should not have. They are all working the same. Of course, positive are working the same and negative are working the same way, but they are different to be able to write the grammatically grammatically correct structures. For example, should be visible. Should be visible. In English, we don't say should have visible or should visible. Should be visible on, for example, should have text. Selenide. And let's start it. I think we can get rid of this slip. And let's run our test. Okay, so we are on the right page, but as you can see, here the test is failing. What happened? Okay, let's have a look on diagnostic feature of Selenide. This is a error message which you will not get from Selenium itself. So it's also a feature of Selenide, which is of more readable, which helps you to understand what's the problem. This element should have text, so probably should be visible worked. It's nice, but the next check should have text didn't work. So it should have text Selenide, but and you can see here actually it has had some line breaks in it. So I haven't noticed that actually it's not just one line, but it has there are some line breaks in between. Yes, also there is yeah, you can see here there is a screenshot, so you can immediately see the picture of in the moment when the test has failed. And as you can see, we haven't configured anything, so everything is out of the box. These are default settings, and they are very nice. Yeah, and also there is a page source, which is a snapshot of DOM at the moment when test has failed. So in some, if you have some difficulties to understand what's going on, for example, it looks correct on the picture on your screenshot, and the text is actually, you cannot understand what the problem is, you can then inspect more thoroughly this HTML, which is a copy of the DOM, and find the differences. Yeah, so here let's fix the test. And also I know about the webs that we could do it like this with a \n line break, but I also know that every series of white space and the line breaks are handled the same way as a single white space. And to make my test a bit more readable, I will just use white space instead of \n, and we will hope that it will work as well. So I'm starting my test again. So now I'm sharing my screen, and I have experience that will make test a bit slower. So if you will be running the test on your computer, and your computer is reasonably fast, so it will be much faster than now 90 seconds. So probably it will run under 10 seconds if I will stop screen sharing. Okay, so as you see, test is green. So that was the first part. Just a moment. Yeah. Okay. Then a small addition for this test as a design pattern of page objects. I actually don't use many design patterns in UI testing, because actually the test in general, and especially specifically UI test, should be as simple as possible and as straightforward as possible. So actually we don't need any complex, we don't have any complex problem and don't need any complex pattern to solve, design pattern to solve them. But PageObject is actually a very practical design pattern which we can use here. So in my opinion, the main reason for existence of PageObject is to help you to make the test even more readable. For example, if someone is reading your test and we don't, let's imagine we wouldn't have this comment, I will delete it. I think it would be difficult to understand for a third person who doesn't know what this test should actually do. Yes, what's here going on? Because this locator is not very readable. So we are finding something and clicking the first element and then a link. So it's not actually very clear what's actually we are doing. There are various possibilities. One of them is actually, just a moment. Yeah, it's working. Okay, it's just to use variables. It's a very simple way to make your test a bit more readable. So this locator, this should represent first found, first repository found, shouldn't it? Yes. So we just give it a name and assign it to a variable which is well named, and then we can use this variable. So in this way we actually made our test a bit more readable. Yes, because now the third person who could read your test would understand probably understand what's going on because we give it a reasonable name. Okay, so also comments help, of course, help to understand the tests, and the page object pattern is another solution for this. So we will create I will create a package and name it. Let's name it widget objects. The reason why not page objects, because I actually it's my personal opinion, I don't like the word page in it, because it's misleading for many beginners. They tend to think that we should use page descriptions in one file. For example, it is possible to consider this whole view which we are looking at now as a page and try to describe every element which we may need in some of our tests on one single page. But of course, it will be a huge page with 1,000 lines of code. It's not a good pattern to make such big pages. So a typical way to do it better is to describe the widgets, some elements of it in one file. For example, like these menus with action, yes, or I don't know, this main menu, or this contributor widget, you can name it. Yeah, so it's actually not page object, which is meaning page, the whole page, but more of widget objects, which are described in every widget. But of course, it's basically the same. So the pattern is called is traditionally called page object, and if I am using the term widget object, I'm actually meaning the same. And so just a moment, I want to save time. I will probably copy some text. So, and I will create here a couple of classes. It will be header representing this header. Okay, and let's start with it. Header, and so I will take this part. Give it some name. Give it some name. That would be search field. And so typical widget object or page object consists of some fields. So, and the more important, some actions which we could do with this header, with this object. Let's create, why not? Let's create a method which is called a search repository. So this name is better than like enter text in search field. So, and also we could take repository name, which we'll be looking for, as a parameter. And how we'll do it is just using set value repository and press enter. Actually, it's it's the same which we are doing here, but now we can use it as this way, new header. New header. What's going on? Begin. New header. Now we have search repository method Selenide. Okay. Then this one, repository found. Let's create a class which will be named repositories found. So here actually the same idea, and I also recommend you for methods which accept parameters which are not as obvious as the other. Always describe what is this method is doing. For example, this method it's almost the same which we did here. So here we just took the first element and then clicked on it, and here it's more common method. So let's open any of hits that we found, and also just definition. We have defined our repository list and then took the element with number index, then took the link and clicked on it. Yes, and in the test we can use it as new repository is found. It's found point dot open repository found 0, like this. And the last one is a repository page that we were repository page. Let's call it repository, and yeah, and here we don't need any method here, but as you can see, I've declared this title element as public because I want to check it in my test. I actually prefer, there are different styles. I prefer to do all checkings, all assertions inside the test to be able to understand what actually is I am checking in the test. And here we have new repository. Found. No. Repository. This one. Title should be visible. Yes. So, and now I claim that with this method of page objects, we can delete all comments with good consciousness, because now the test is readable, even well readable and understandable even without comments. We are opening the page, then header, we are searching searching Selenide repository, then among repositories found, we are opening that with index 0, that means the first one, and then the title of this repository should be visible. In my opinion, the pattern of PageObject, so the first reason to use it is to make the test more readable. It's actually not about not duplicating your code, because you know, if it would be just duplicating your code, there are many methods to handle code duplication, like creating just utility class or something other. So it's nothing. You don't need any design pattern to avoid code duplication. It's just the basic programming patterns. It's like side effect of, I'll make it, of course, a bit larger. This one too. Yeah, this one too. So Okay. So now if, for example, you have another test case and you also want to use to search repository, in this case, perhaps for some other repositories, then you can reuse this method again. What would be a nice side effect? But more importantly is that the code is readable. Okay. So do you have any questions? Can you send these updated plugins to the chat, please? So I have a question in chat. Which do you mean updated plugins?
Yeah, you, Alex. It's about it's about plugins which you redacted on the beginning of your all workshop. So it's better to send maybe all dependencies and I mean files with plugins which you are set it up. So because you deleted 2 lines, and it's better to better to use it.
Okay. Look, so now you can ask another questions, but at the moment I will show you something. So I have prepared a repository for this seminar, for this workshop. So this is a repository. I will copy link in chat. And here you have basically the whole code base, which I have done now. So you can, so you don't need to paste it to watch the video to paste the code. So also here, perhaps some different versions of components, but you understand the principle. Yes. So I've deleted here 2 lines which were referenced to, it's not a plugin, but it's configuration, which helps you to set up the artifacts which you deliver to some external projects. But we will not deliver anything for any project. In this case, we will just will have tested, will run. Also in the next section, not on the next section, but in the next in the third or fourth section, we will also run the same tests in Jenkins, so we will need it. But even then, we don't need any artifactory name and groups, so it's fine to delete these settings. It's also optional. You can leave the settings, but they are not doing anything good for you. That's the reason why I delete them. So that's what I've showed you. And the next is, we don't have much time, is the exercise. Exercise is here, also under exercise. And also the task is to implement this test. I don't think it's possible to do it in 10 minutes. We have a little problem. I hope that we will have around half an hour, but I was pretty slow. Okay, I will explain you what this test should be doing, and I think we can discuss a couple of things now, and then go to the second part, and I will also show you how you can look up the solution if you have some problems solving it. So so the plan is, okay, let's try to do it in 2 windows. So oops, like this. GitHub. I actually didn't install any plugins yet in IntelliJ. Really nothing. Just added 2 dependencies. So to make this code work, I just repeat it once again. So the only line which is absolutely necessary is, of course, adding dependency on Selenide. Yes. Otherwise, this is optional. This is optional. This is also optional, and deleting the 2 lines is also optional. Okay. So could it be simpler? I don't know. Yeah. So here, enterprise. Let's go to enterprise menu. Oh, enterprise menu is this one. And then make an assertion. Then header is built like the best. This one. So there is check on the header. Then contact sales, probably by clicking it. Then fill in name, company, and working email, the fields. Then I need help with other. Make this radio box on, and you will get this new field, which is also mandatory. Then, yeah, assert that this field is showing. For example, check that this text is visible on screen. So then check another option. I think customer support for GitHub Enterprise. Yes, and assert. So check that text is normal there. So this just checks that switching these 2 options turns on and off this this text about tell us more about the questions. Yeah, and the last step, assert. I cannot contact the sales teams because there is a robot verification which is extremely difficult to automate, and thus this contact sales button is disabled. Yeah, it looks, if you're not familiar with Selenide, it looks like a tough job, and I don't know how much time would you need to implement this in other frameworks, but I can assure you, if you have a couple of months of experience with Selenide, it's this test can be written in 15 minutes or something. It's really not as hard, and actually I wanted to show it you online, but I think I don't have 15 minutes for it right now. So I would ask you, I would like to offer you to try it yourself, perhaps at home later. So this is the first, this is actually 2 tasks. And the second task is the same, but with PageObject. Just try to refactor your test using PageObject, so widget object for that matter. And I have created empty widget objects for you, just to get the idea how you could structure your page object. For example, here it is enterprise landing would be probably this. Okay. So main menu is again, main menu would be this one. Yeah. So whereas your enterprise link is found, then enterprise landing is this page in this case, and the third is sales form, and sales form is this whole form from here until here. So these are 3 objects, 3 page objects. Yes, and also solution branch. There are the solutions. I think I can show you it in IntelliJ. Okay, I will just give you a couple of hints here. But actually, try to implement it without looking directly in the solution, but try to implement it. If you don't know what to do, use the solution. So one possibility which is missing in Selenium itself, but is implemented in Selenide, is to search element by text. It's working very intuitively. So, for example, this notation means you first searching for navigation tag, and inside it, you are looking by test for enterprise element and click it. So it's very simple to click on this enterprise menu on this page. Yeah. Then what else? Again, by text contact sales. Very simple. So we did it before, set value, set value, set value. Then how to work with radio box? Very simple. You just click on it. Visible, yeah, that's a check of element is showing. Just do visible, click. So almost nothing new here. Also should disappear. Disappear is just the opposite of visible. So it checks if it is invisible. And for button, it's also very intuitive. If we want, so as you can see, this button is disabled. Yeah, so we just locate the element with $ and CSS locator should be disabled. That's it. So as you can imagine, it's actually around 15 minutes of work, and okay, with some typos. And don't know, if you're not in hurry, half an hour tops. And then after you refactored it, it should look like this. So the most of the not most, but every locator goes into a widget objects, and here we can now see the structure. So we don't need comments anymore. Main menu, open menu, enterprise. Header should have this text, then contact sales, then fill and form, and choose one option, choose another option. Additional field should be visible, and after that disappear. So as you can see, it's pretty simple to do. Yeah, but if you so I really recommend you to do it yourself, because you don't learn it until you really try it yourself. Because it looks, everything looks simple, which is also is, but only doing it helps you to master Selenide. Okay. So are there any questions?
No question. Everything is pretty well described. Yes.
Okay. Okay, then let's continue with our second part. Just I will, yeah, exactly. I wanted to show you another feature. So this feature is only available in Ultimate Edition. Oops. Ultimate Edition. So it's a paid edition, but many developers buy them, or they ask their employers to buy licenses, because of course IntelliJ is a very good tool. Why not to pay for it? So here we actually need we can use some plugins, and there is a plugin preferences which is named, so plugins, sorry, opening. So that's a plugins. It is named Selenium UI testing, and it's not installed by default for now. It's possible that it will change later, but for now you must install it yourself, and it is only in Ultimate version. It's not available in Community Edition. Selenium UI testing. After that, after you restart the IntelliJ, you have additional options. Create new project, and here, so you have here another option, Selenium, and okay, demo, and you can choose here, for example, Java, Gradle, JUnit. Okay. Oops. Okay, I think it's nice. Also, I will leave it here. Next. And as you can see, you can, well, for now, you can also add Allure and Selenide from this menu. But for now, I will just show you how this works for Selenide. So just use Selenide. Now you have a sample project, I think even with some page objects, or not, it's without page object. Oh, it is without page, it's with page object. Yes? So there's some very basic page objects. Yes, probably this code is not perfect. It's possible that in the next version there will be some other examples, but it's a pretty nice working example. So it's even faster start for you to write in the new test. And as you can see, there are dependencies actually almost the same. It's another way to define that you will you'll be using Java 11. Yes, and the rest is the same. And okay, actually, this UTF-8 encoding is missing here. Okay. Okay. So that's it for Selenide. And the second, let's go on with the second part, is Allure reports. Tool named Allure reports. Okay. So, and what it is what is it? It is a lightweight reporting systems, which can be used not only for Java, but for almost every programming language, which is popular at the moment: C#, JavaScript, even PHP. It is using declarative style usage, so it's possible also to code using Allure methods, Allure classes, but most of the time you it's just enough to decorate your test with some annotations if it is Java, with meta information. So you actually not code, you just describe what you need. And it also adds some own and very useful metadata to your test. So as you may know, in JUnit, you can give your tests meaningful names with some annotation like display names. Excuse me. So, but Allure also brings some more very useful annotation, which I will show in a moment. Of course, it integrates very well with Jenkins and TeamCity, so it can be used out of the box on Jenkins, for example. You should be see in the next part. And it has a lot of plugins for popular frameworks and tools, as you may have guessed, for Selenide, of course, but also, for example, for Rest Assured, a popular framework for testing API services. And just another example, Newman is a little tool to run Postman tests on command line or in Jenkins. You can also use as a reporter Allure with it, and actually there are dozens more integrated solutions for other frameworks too. Okay, let's go to practice. So let's do it with let's just continue with our test. First step, we let's add an dependency of Allure Report, because it's typical first step when you're using your library. It's just a second. So you are adding a dependency on it. Okay. So okay. One more thing. For to use Allure with is it okay? So it's run. Sorry, I'll close it. It's actually the solution. Yes, it's our code. Yeah. So you need to add Allure plugin here in Gradle plugins. This brings you additional tasks for Allure, which where there are updates. Actually, they shown here. Okay, not yet. Okay, or should I? Okay, will probably be there in a moment, but for now, let's add a dependency. It will be, oops, yeah, this one, Allure for JUnit 5, one of the latest. And okay, it's not here. Not here. Okay. Okay, then I was wrong. You must add also this part to see the new tasks. So you also need configuration for Allure. It could be a little confusing that the version is here it must be configured 2 times here and here, but actually I've tried it out. If you delete one of these lines, something will not work as well as you expected to work. So just use this code snippet to get it to work. So I think now it will be loaded here somewhere. Yeah, no. Okay, so this block is also necessary. So 3 steps is to add a plugin. So I think when you are adding this plugin here, you are enabling to using this Allure block. So without it, it wouldn't work. So Allure is unknown to Gradle itself, so it must be configured there. And then you are adding this block to get Allure tasks here. We'll show them in a moment, and configure the versions of Allure. And also we add in the dependency to be able to use some of the Allure annotation in our code. Okay, so that's the first part. So, and for now, let's do something here. Let's, oops. I will copy this test. Let's have two tests to make it more funny. Should find Selenoid and Selenoid. Let's try. And now I haven't changed anything, just just added some configuration to Gradle. Yeah, let's run the tests. Let's run the test. So actually my expectation that one test will be passed. That's our Selenide test. And the second will be probably failing because I expect, yeah, I think Selenoid is not hosted under Selenoid group name, but I think it's AeroCube or something like this. So it will probably fail here. Yeah. So we didn't change anything in our code. As you can see here. Yeah, one test failed and one test was successful. Yes. And now we can already see some reports. So here, look at this task, Allure Serve, and just double click it. Sorry, forgot to do one thing. So only the first time in your project, you must download Allure once. So I will run the task download Allure. Yeah, successful. And after that, I will start Allure Serve. So if it is downloaded once, you don't need to run it anymore. Okay, and now you can see this nice report. Okay, so as you can see, even without any change to your to our test, so we haven't added anything on it, we can already see some really nice report. For example, you can see duration of the test here, and yeah, okay, history will not be working. And I will just a moment. So okay, general double test run also. Okay, so you can see reports, and you can also browse. Just show first that you can browse enter the tests. It's not much information here, so there is the error text for diagnostic, but here you cannot directly click on. You don't have pictures yet here. Okay, so logically, because Allure doesn't know anything yet about how to handle pictures. Okay, so let's do something more about it. Let's do some extension. Yeah, and actually, we haven't used this dependency yet. So if we had it like this, it would do the same thing. So we haven't used this dependency at all. But okay, we actually want to use this dependency and add a little bit of metadata to our test. For example, let's add display name and description. Yeah. So display name. Selenide can be found on the GitHub. So, and description. Description would be, so display name is alternative to this method name. So you can write here a longer sentence to define what your test is actually doing, and description is typically used to put even more information about the test. For example, you can write your steps which you're doing here, or write any prosa test, any prosa text to explain the reader of your reports what is the test about. For example, let's do following. Let's do some first search for Selenide, and oops, and second assert that header is Selenide, something like this. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. No, it's, let's run this. Okay, and meanwhile, I will add yes more metadata. Epic. Feature. Oh. Feature. Let's make it searching for story. And Selenide. So I think the test are ready meanwhile. Let's look what have changed. As you can see, here are the names that we have given to our test. So it's no more the method name like this, but a well-readable text. Also, okay, yeah, we have named the method, but we haven't named the class. So we can, of course, also use here display name on the class GitHub search test, something like this. It also showed in this instead of the class name. Yes, and description, you can see it here inside the test. You can see the description of what is going on. Yeah, so it helps you to create meaningful reports. Okay, let's look at this. Okay, let me just create the second test. For example, GitHub Enterprise. I will create here just an empty test, which is doing nothing. Just to show you the idea. Epic GitHub. Oops. feature, let's do it like so, this enterprise. Story. Story, I don't know, sales. And here, you can also make more than one epic or more than one feature and more than one story in one run. And let's start everything together. Okay. We'll show you additional option. And for now, the tests are running. Okay, everything was pretty slow. But I actually wanted to make a short overview of each menu here. But it will take some time. Perhaps I will do it in our next part with Jenkins, because we then have more information. But okay, so here's just an overview of the test execution. If you are starting it locally, you don't see any history here. So actually, the history will be only visible if you are using it, for example, with Jenkins, and your runs on Jenkins will be, if they will not be deleted shortly after execution, then you will see here every previous run of Jenkins as well. Yes, you have also the possibility to create the environments, to set the environments variables for every test run. For example, if you can run the very same test in Jenkins on different environments, like production, test environment, development environment, staging, whatever. And also you could bring this information on Allure Report to be able to easily understand, okay, this test report, which environment it belongs to. Yeah, feature by stories, we will see it in a moment. We haven't defined any stories. Category, it's also actually interesting feature to be able to differentiate between different kind of errors. So it is predefined this way. If you have any assertion in your test, and if it fails, for example, you have either Selenide assertion, assert that something should happen, or typical other assertions from frameworks like assert.j or Hamcrest or whatever. Yes, if you are using assert and it fails, then it will be will be marked as product defect. Your test could also break, for example, if you have some runtime exceptions, like null pointer exception or array index out of bound exception, something like that. That it will be marked as test defect. Yeah, as test defect. Of course, it's not always true that not everything which is marked product defect is actually a problem with your product. But okay, there is a possibility to differentiate of different error messages. It's also customizable, so you can parse your error message and create your own categories. For example, if you know that if some text error message is happening, it means that I don't know, your third-party library isn't online. For example, you are dependent, I don't know, whether service from some third party, and sometimes it breaks and it gives you some definite error message. You can configure it, and you will see cases here categorized for that. Okay, execute a Gradle or Jenkins in many cases. So categories, that's what I told you, product defects or test defects. Suites, it's typical our test packages, test classes, and test names. Then in graphs, you have some more statistics about duration. And if you have, of course, if you have multiple runs, you have duration trend or retries trend or categories trend. If like every trend widgets need, of course, the history. Timeline is showing you how long the tests were running. You can also actually nicely filter here and find the tests which are, for example, which took the longest time. They will be marked here. Okay, and behaviors and so packages is literally Java packages, and behaviors we will see in a moment. So okay, I think it's ready now. Okay, so now we have 3 tests, and let's look at behaviors. Oh, sorry, I've made a typo. Actually, the idea was, okay, let's do it once again. So when you are starting Allure Serve from here, just be aware that it starts a little web server, and it doesn't close it automatically, and this web server doesn't update its state automatically if you run your tests again. So for this case, if I run a test once again, the report will not be updated. So typically I just close this old Allure Serve tab and open the new one. And actually I wanted to make here the same epic, of course, the same epic to show you the idea what is used for. Okay, so let's restart tests. Okay, so epic feature and story are actually just three levels that help you to structure your tests better. So it must not be real an epic or a feature or a story in literally. So you can use any structure you want, and sometimes you don't need 3 levels. You can use just 2 of them. For example, epic on feature or feature and story, or something like this. And if you are using this epic feature story structures, you can nicely see it in report in behavior tab. So so for example, for now, this is so epic is the highest level, and then as you can see, we have changed the test. One was went for enterprise, and the second went for session for repositories. So you can group and structure your tests according to needs of your project. For example, you can divide on your functional groups. Let's imagine we have online shop, and there are functional groups. Could be searching for articles, one functional group. The second functional group could be billing. Yes, there Third could be delivery options. Yeah, and in each group we can also divide it in some other categories. For example, billing could be credit cards or gift certificates, or I don't know, pay on invoice tests. Yeah, so it's a nice possibility to annotate your test, to structure your test information according to your software, and so that the reports helps you to quickly understand in each and every functional area what is tested, and what is probably even more important, what is not tested, which tests are missing. So we could just quickly find all tests for billing and see what is already tested and what is not yet tested. Okay, so this was epic feature and story division. Okay. So next feature would be steps. It's actually also very simple. Let's annotate the method of PageObject with step annotations. We could do it without any comments, or we could also use, I will be using here searches for. We can also use here parameters repository. It must be the same name as parameter name here. It will be working nice. What do we have also here? Zum Beispiel step opens repository number index. Something like this. Okay, and to make it a bit more quickly. So to save some time, I will also directly show the next feature. Okay, I will add another dependency. I will add Selenide plugin for Allure Selenide plugin. So I think that it is actually Selenide. Yes, like this. And when I'm using Allure Selenide plugin, it includes Allure JUnit plugin, Allure JUnit. Actually, it's Allure is a highly pluggable system, so actually this Allure JUnit is also a plugin. But of course, it's more common because it's for JUnit. And Allure Selenide also include Allure JUnit, so I can just use Allure Selenide. And to make use of it, let me do here one more thing. So test. We will be adding some initialization code, and before all blocks, so that it's executed just once, I'm adding the Allure plugin. And let's just run the tests again. So you can use any name here, and it's actually the standard. There are some parameters, but the defaults are just fine for almost every case. And so we'll be finished soon. Yep. Let's restart our test. And now, as you can see, so we gave a display name for test class, and now we can see here a beautiful text, or not so beautiful. And also, oops, let's look at, yeah. So we actually, what we did, we created some steps, and we also, so the steps you can see here. We'll turn it back to go to search repository. Yeah, so we define this method as a step, and now we also see our we also see the structure, of our test, and adding the Selenide plugin for Allure also automatically added us these lines, which are showing, for example, their Selenide comments and Selenide checks. So now, without doing any coding, almost no coding, so we just edit the dependency and configure them. We now have some meaningful structure of our test in the report. Yeah, so open this file, then search for Selenoid and opens the repository number 0. Yeah, and also our checks should be visible and should have text Selenoid. And here, look at this. This is also what Selenide plugin did. Now we automatically do have screenshots of the error in our report. So here we can, looking at the report, we can understand what's went wrong. Yeah. So the test line was should have that our header should have text Selenoid, and we can, as we can see here on the screen, it's error cube Selenoid. Yeah, so it's very easy to fix this error now. And also the page source. So now we can, for example, save it, and yeah, it's, oops. Actually, yeah, it's also a preview. Actually, it's just a HTML file, but because of preview feature, you are looking almost at the same page as a screenshot. But it's not a screenshot. It's just a file. Yeah? You can save it locally and then inspect in text editor, for example. Okay, so it's completely automatically, and here you can do also steps inside steps, and it will have also the structure of tree of steps. Okay. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. Okay. Let's do some more annotations. And for it, we will do some configuration. So okay. Okay, I configured some link patterns for two types of links. One is TMS link for test management system, and the second is for issue link. And they will be shown on, both will be shown on a Jira of Atlassian project. Okay. Okay. How to use it? So very simple. As you have noticed, the most of the things are done with annotations. So no really code execution, which is nice. So we can link. Let's do it like this. If it's the issue, then it's probably some bug, and we'll put it here. So the idea is, for example, this TMS link could refer to a user story. The user story which we are testing. For example, these tests are written because of user story, which is described in Jira under this Jira ID. Also, we can use just some simple links, give it a name, GitHub homepage, and reference it to any internet site. And issue is almost the same type of links as a TMS link, but it shows, it indicates that there is some problem here. So, for example, a bug. Yep. Let's run the tests again. I think the slowest part is running tests. Okay, no. I don't know if it helps much, but I can configure the test for the next one at least. Oh. To run in headless mode. Like this. So you don't see a browser opening, but it's opening on my second screen. So hopefully it will be a bit faster if I run it headless. We will see the next time. But for now, just let's rerun our report. So now let's look. There is a link section in our report, and everything is perfectly clickable. Yeah, and even here we see our Jira ID. Click, and voila, we are directly in Jira in proper ticket. I think it's nice feature. And the other one with the bug is actually the same, but it has a bug icon here, so it indicates that it's a bug. Yeah, also very nicely linked. And also I will show you just another annotation For example, let's imagine that it's a typical situation. There is a bug, so the test is correct, but the product is wrong. So the bug is described by this issue, but it takes some time to fix it because I don't know. It's difficult to fix this bug, or developers are on some prioritized jobs, and we don't want to our test to run every time, knowing that okay, the issue isn't fixed yet, so it will always be failing. Why run it again? So we can disable it and write some a comment. For example, enable when the link bug is fixed. Yeah. And let's run the tests. The browser is not open anymore, but it's not much faster, unfortunately. Looks like it will take half a minute anyway. Yep. Okay, it's ready. Let's start the report. Yeah, the test is no more failing, but it's skipped. Gray. And yeah, we can read here the reason why is it skipped, and we have a link to the bug. So in my typical project, I just look from time to time, okay, is it bug fixed? And when it is fixed, then I would re-enable this test again. Okay. Let's do one more thing. The attachments. Attachments are done very very easily in with Allure. So let's do just a couple of examples. For example, the first one is screenshot. Just creating a method which must return the actual picture in form of byte. Luckily, in Selenide, we have exactly this. So we have a screenshot method, which just does a screenshot of the current page, and it returns a byte array. So if it is so, we need to create any method, give it any name, and then annotate it with attachment, and then we can give it a name, which will be visible in our report. So this one, and directly the second, text attachment. Text attachment is any text, so any method. And here, so most probable usage, you will be calling some APIs method or something from third-party libraries, and it will be giving you some information back. So you will process information, and in some case you want to have this information in your report. And so you will write a simple method which just return string, and also give it some name, an attachment, and some meaningful name. And then the only thing you need is just to call these two methods. For example, let's make screenshot directly from the homepage. And okay, I will do it. I will copy it in. It's actually the same, but I want to show wanted to show the difference. I will make it inside of this method. So this attachment, I want it to be the part of this step. Then I will call it in under this step method. It's nothing fancy, it's just call. So you don't even need to assign it somehow. Yeah, so just call it. It's enough. Attach text, and let's restart the test. So, okay. It's fine now. So the last property. So this one is actually irrelevant for Allure. It's setting for running the test in headless mode. Selenide test in headless mode. And this setting auto detection of extensions. There are also a couple of extensions, JUnit 5 extensions, which are available for Allure. And this is the simple way just to use default extension. You will see in a moment what it brings. So let's look at our report. So attachments, yeah, we added attachments, and now, so the first attachments, screenshots, we edited at the main method of our test, yeah. Yeah, so it's executed here, and its attachments are always attached at the end of the step. So here's no steps, so it's just test body. So that's the reason why it is not shown between the first and the second line, which is here in code. Yes, but it is actually, yeah. So that's the way the attachments work. They are attached einfach, in this context. So, and the second attachment, text attachment, we have added it inside of step, so it's attached also at the end of the step. Yeah, and as you can see, it works. So the text is visible here. So it's also very nice extension to make your reports even more helpful and readable. So the last one is the settings I've just made. This one is just to run the tests and to look at the result. So And we'll start to wrap up. So these features of Allure and Selenide and this combination allows you to get all the information you need to analyze your test results without, in many cases, maybe not, of course, not always, without need to go into the source code. So the idea is to generate the reports which gave you a very good picture of what is actually tested, what is not tested, and if you have some tests, what exactly this test is about, why this test is written. For example, these links, yes, a description. Of course, it's not done just by adding annotation, so you must really carefully describe your tests to put all this meta information, also to put correct meta information. Of course, if you name your methods misleading, or if your description doesn't align with what test is doing, it is nothing, so it's of no help. But if you just stick to the good practice of describing what your test is doing, you can get very good results in and cutting your time to troubleshoot, to analyze the problems of your test drastically. So again, the test is run, and it's the last one, I guess. So yeah, for example, so this section is new. Actually, there are some technical challenges which are there when using the static blocks of before all and after all. So that's the reason why they didn't show before. So actually we have here also some methods which were not there until now. So there are some extensions were written for Allure to make it possible to see also setup steps and tear down steps here in the report, and they were done in extensions. And the simplest way to add all reasonable extensions is just to turn on this property test. Then also for the future, I think Allure will be evolving and writing new extensions, beta extensions. So in order to benefit from all of this, it's, in my opinion, it's just enough to put this on, and all defaults will be loaded automatically, and you will get this nice addition for your test for setup steps and tear down steps which are outside of typical test body. Okay, and of course, the same way as I've done it with Selenide, I've prepared some exercise which you can do at home. Okay, yeah, that's it. Allure exercise, and actually here is exercise is just more exploratory of exploratory kind. So freestyle exercise, add methods, add metadata, try to use attachments. Yeah, and here just reminder, don't forget to initialize Allure Selenide plugin, and then fill some description and display name and fill in some metadata. Okay, yeah, I think here also. So yeah, okay, it's the same here. Okay, yeah, add steps to the widget objects. Yeah, add steps. Okay. So of course, logically, it's more of exploratory, but it is interesting to put these things and then look at your reports and see how do they change. Yeah, actually, also quite good for you to try it with your hands. It's my recommendation. In any case, yeah. Okay, here's already pre-configured. Yeah, okay, and here you can try to configure some other URLs. For example, for JetBrains and uTrack. Okay, I think that's it. And perhaps you have some questions. The next two parts will be about Jenkins and Allure. And if you want to, Jenkins and Selenoid, if you want to try it yourself, you will need to install Docker on your computer. So yeah, if you are trying to repeat the things I'm showing, come the next time with Docker installed, or prepare some virtual machines with Docker on it. It's also possible. Think we will do the next parts a very similar way. I will be showing some typical examples of how, so we will be working with the test I've written already. We will integrate them into Jenkins and see how to start them also in parallel. And then we will run the test with Selenoid. So also install and configure Selenoid and run a couple of tests on it, and also see how what changes. How is it possible to run test in parallel on different, even in different Docker containers? Really from one Jenkins jobs in parallel. Okay, hope it will be interesting. So are there any questions? You can use your microphone, or you can write in chat. I will wait a couple of minutes. We are actually so the 2 hours are now over. And if there are no questions, then thank you very much for your attention. And perhaps also for those of you who is watching this video as a recording, you can connect to me, for example, on LinkedIn, and ask your questions either there, or yeah, that's probably the best way. Just contact me over there. Okay. So thank you very much, and see you next week.